So I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't have any sort of bumblebees in this game about insects, but it's okay. I'll get over it. Maybe. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel today. My name is Carly. Today we're going to be reviewing the 1 to 4 player game Jewel Box from Lovemore Games. In Jewel Box, you will be playing as an entomologist. I really hope that's how it's pronounced. Basically, you're a bug scientist and you are going out into kind of the meadows and the fields trying to find the most dazzling specimens. As you go out and collect these beetles or butterflies, if you are playing with this little expansion here, you will be slowly building out your own personal jewel box. So typically during my reviews, I usually jump into a very general overview of how this game plays and operates. But what we're actually going to be doing instead is I'm just going to kind of walk you through and kind of show you what you're going to be doing, because this is a very simple and easy game to learn and understand. Setup for this game is one of the easiest games I've actually played in a while. All you do is you just collect all of the beetle tiles and then mix them up around the table. You lay out this little board, randomly select five tiles and flip them over to fill up this little log in front of you. And that's essentially it. Now, I mentioned before that what you're going to be doing is collecting bug tiles and adding them to a little grid in front of you. So that's basically what you're going to be doing is you have a dice, and on your turn you will roll the dice, and based on the number shown you will select the bug that is associated with that particular number. Now, if you roll a 6, you actually can choose any of the face-up tiles that are shown on the log at that time. But unfortunately, I didn't roll a 6, I rolled a 1. So I will select this bug and then add it to my own personal grid. Now, these bugs are important. First off, the artwork on these bugs are beautiful. I love the artwork. We'll get into that later. But what is really important about these bugs are the little colored little gem that's on the upper the upper corner of the tile. There are 5 different colors that are found throughout the game. There are green, red, purple, yellow, or blue. Why these colors are important is because each of these colors are indicating the way that that particular bug scores. So for example, I got a red little beetle here, and the way that the reds work is that they have to be horizontally or vertically adjacent to other reds. So as I add this red bug to my tile or to my grid, again, it doesn't matter because it's my first tile that I have, but now moving forward, I'm going to want to place any reds that I get at a future turn in this particular way to, again, score points. How the greens score, for example, is that each adjacent insect has to be from a different color, has to be from a different family. The purples are all of the ladybugs here, and they do not want to touch other purples, so you want to keep your purples separate. The yellows, the placement doesn't matter, it just matters how many you actually have in your grid. And then the blue bugs like to be in non-adjacent pairs, so you just want to kind of make little groups of 2 for these blue bugs here. And that's essentially what you're going to be doing, is once you've picked your tile, then another tile is randomly selected from this little bush that you're collecting all these beetles from, and it refills the board, and then the next player goes, again, rolling the dice. For example, we rolled a 4, so then they would select this bug and start their own grid by them. Now, because we are scientists, we actually do have a few little tools to help aid us with our collecting process. So there are a few little tools here. So the first is the magnifying glass, which is right here. And what these do is they allow players to choose any face up or face down beetle instead of rolling the dice. So if you were to do that, you would just flip this over, indicating that you've used this for that game. These little forceps allow you to actually swap beetles that have already been placed within your grid. So if you find you kind of get yourself into a bind, or you wish you would have switched stuff up on a previous turn, you actually can use these little tweezers to kind of move those bugs around. And then you have this mixed one that actually can be used as either the magnifying glass or the little tweezers. So those are kind of a couple different ways to help aid you and kind of help with the dice rolls sometimes. Now that's essentially everything that comes in the base box, but there is also this expansion that I wanted to kind of briefly touch on. So this is called the Fluttering Expeditions, and what this introduces is it actually introduces enough components to support a 5th player. So if you want to play this game with 5, then this would be a good expansion to get. But it also introduces butterflies. So again, new artwork for the game, but the butterflies all actually also have different colors and score in different ways. Those 2 colors that they introduce are bright yellow and also pink. The yellow one, for example, you will be scoring the amount of butterflies that make up the largest group within your grid. And then the pink ones like to mirror each other. So you will go through and basically you're kind of copying. Let's just go with copying. You're copying other groups either horizontally or vertically. And again, you'll be, every single time you do that, you'll get those points. And I know that was kind of like a lot of different ways to score, but the game does come with little individual player cards that kind of help remind you how each color scores, which was very helpful to have these. Hopefully that overview gives you a general idea of how this game plays. It is essentially just a very quick tile placement game. You just build out your grid really fast and then the game is over. So after having explained all that, let's go ahead and kind of dive into my thoughts on this game, starting with everything that I enjoyed about it. I wanted to start off the bat by saying how much I adored the artwork in this game. I loved all of I love how every single insect was different. It was unique. I loved the background. It really felt like you were collecting these specimens and filling out your little journal with them. It made it really fun to collect the bugs and to see all the different specimens. I mean, I know there's a lot of bugs out there. I didn't realize that there were so many beautiful bugs and beetles. Like, I don't know, it was a really fun theme. I really enjoyed the theming in this. I also love how quick and easy the game was to not only set up, but also to play and teach this game. This is one of those games that I feel like you could take basically anywhere. Have it in your backpack, have it in your purse to take out if you're at a picnic or if you're at a restaurant. It's kind of refreshing almost to have a tile placement game that's just straight across. You're just basically lining up the colors in different ways. Some tile placement games kind of take that mechanism but make it a bigger game than it needs to be or has to be. So I like that this, again, tile placement game, but simple, very quick. I'm very grateful that they had these little individual player cards, and then with the expansion they actually added a second one, so you're not constantly flipping through the rulebook or saying, hey, can you hand me the rulebook? I forgot how this scored. Again, this should be mandatory in every single game, but I cannot believe we are still seeing games that don't have something like this. So I'm very grateful that they thought to add something like this because it really helped kind of keep all of your different colors straight. This is kind of slowly becoming this like our go-to end of the night game. Like if we're trying to get the kids, like you're kind of trying to wind the kids down for bedtime and we only have like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to play a game, like, you know what, let's break out Jewel Box and we'll just sit down. Because again, it takes literally less than 30 seconds to set up this game. It probably takes about 15 seconds to set up this game. You just dump everything out and then boom, you're good. And so yeah, it's just one of those games just to kind of wind the night down or to start off game night. This would be a great game just to kind of get people's brains kind of going. It doesn't outstay its welcome at all because essentially all you're doing is rolling a dice. There's really not a ton of mitigation, but I do enjoy and I'm grateful that they added these little extra tools that kind of help you, because there are some times where you do have to, for example, select a tile that you really don't have a spot for, but then later in the game you're like, you know what, I actually can swap this to better utilize this bug at a different location. So you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and use my tweezers to then swap those bugs around to kind of help me. So again, it's not a ton of mitigation, but I am glad that they have this because it added just enough. Because again, it's not a super long game. Your grid, I forget how much it is, let's see. Yeah, so you're literally building out a 4x4 grid. So it goes by very quick. So because you have essentially 3 tools at your disposal at all time, I never felt like I really needed more than that. It was a good amount for the length of gameplay. Again, kind of coming back to how well thought out I think this game is, like the rule book, nothing unnecessary was thrown in. It was super easy. I think I was able to read the rulebook in like 5 minutes. And something else I appreciated about the rulebook is how it went through kind of in detail. Because yes, like your player cards, they kind of give you just a very general how each color scores. But if you have any like particular questions, not only does it fully explain, but it also has picture examples of how stuff works, along with picture examples of how things don't work. The game is pretty straightforward, but if you do need any of those examples, like this rule book is just very well thought out. Because this is such a simple game, there's really not a ton of negatives that I have about it. I want to say the biggest thing though that I think people, you're either going to like it or you don't, is how on your turn essentially all you're doing is rolling a dice. And based on the dice roll, then you have to pick that beetle. Even if you really wanted this one, because I rolled a 3, I have to take this one. So I think you are going to know if that caters to your gameplay taste at all. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I noticed. I'm like, some people might not jive so much with them. I loved the butterfly expansion. That was something I forgot to mention what I liked about it. I loved adding the butterflies. I actually really hope they added, or they add a little bumblebee expansion, because there's so many types of bees like in the world. Like I would love to have a little bumblebee expansion. But all that aside, I loved the butterflies. I thought that was so fun to kind of add to the game. I will say that with the butterflies, it adds like a couple extra colors that you have to kind of be aware of, and so it makes that little grid that you're making very, 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 very tight. Sometimes it was a little bit frustrating too, because I was getting all these colors and I wasn't maximizing as well as I wanted to. And that might just be a me thing, but I think when you do add in all of the butterflies and those 2 extra colors, it just makes that grid really tight. So some people might find that restrictive, or just extra puzzly. So again, kind of think about yourself and what you personally enjoy about games and how you like to approach games, and just kind of be aware that if you do add in the expansion, it just adds 2 more colors that you are having to puzzle out and deal with on an already tight, limited grid. At the end of the day, this is just a very simple tile placement game. So if you like more crunchy games, if you like a lot of like strategic planning, this probably isn't going to be that much, or that probably isn't going to hit as much for you. Again, there is strategic planning in the way that you place out your beetles, but it's not, I mean, there's only so many options you have, right? So again, just kind of keep that in mind when looking into this game. Having said all of that though, let's go ahead and jump into our final thoughts, because I do think that this is a very great, approachable tile placement game. Like this is such a great one to take out, honestly, with any group. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It looks beautiful on the table. It's great for adults, but also kids. Like Addie really liked this game, and trying to puzzle out, okay, if I put this here, that means I can't put this one here and this one here. It's more thinky than you would think, kind of looking at it. Again, it's not a super thinky game, but it is more thinky than I was anticipating when I first kind of broke out this game. So having said all of that, I really enjoyed this game. I'm going to be giving Jewel Box a 7.5. I think the only thing that's kind of pulling it down from an 8 is because it is kind of on the more light, simple side. But again, if you are looking for that for either a game before game night or an end of day game, or an approachable kind of tile placement game with really any ages or with your kids, I think that this is honestly a fantastic one. I really am hopeful that one day they add a Bumblebee expansion. They don't have to, but I mean, it would be awesome. This really has kind of just become our staple, very quick tile placement game. So if you are kind of interested in this game, I'll make sure to link all the information below in the description of this video so you can kind of check out everything that this game has to offer. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I did want to give a really quick shout out to Lovemore Games for sending us this game to review for you today. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it means so much if you could do that. It really helps support us in everything that we're doing over here. But until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later. These beetles are so cute. Makes me want to start collecting beetles. They're just so cute. And I really want some bumblebees now. All the cute beetles. I want cute bumblebees.